I'm Canon Penny Anderson, and I'm delighted to greet you on my first day as rector of St. Christopher's Church in Burlington, Ontario. I want to share with you some questions. These are questions that animate my thinking and shape my approach to our shared ministry. I have some questions, and if you've come looking for a whole lot of answers, this video might leave you a little hungry. That's part of my plan. I want to invite you to a conversation with other people from the church, and maybe some church-adjacent people too. Here's one of my questions. How do we join God's work in the world? For a lot of years, this question made me nervous. Yes, I was keen on the idea that God is at work in the world, but I couldn't accept that God was calling someone like me to join in. Here's what life has taught me. For God's own reasons, God chooses people like you and me to join God's work in the world, not because we're super holy or because we have exemplary prayer lives, but because we have joined a community of people who are open to God's Spirit, where it's safe to allow God to woo us. And before we know it, we see that the Spirit of the living God is at work in us. So, Penny, let's just say someone did want to join God's work in the world. Oh, not me. No, I'm asking for a friend. But how would you do it? Please tell your friend that if they're asking that question, it's probably already begun. When he needed courage, Martin Luther used to exhort himself, saying, "Remember you are baptized. Remember you are baptized." I think he's on to something. Because joining God's work in the world, in the first place, depends on God. And God has already started that within us. And of course, it depends also on our skills and our aptitudes and the ways that we want to connect to particular kinds of service, yes. But in the first place, it depends on God. Next, tell your friend to simply pay attention. I went to a Jesuit university, and so I know that stream of Roman Catholic spirituality asks questions like, what makes your heart sing? What makes your heart sing? It's not as superficial a question as it may seem. Pay attention to moments of desolation and flourishing in your life. Ask yourself, what does make my heart sing? And then do more of that. That's where we encounter the living God. It's a kind of spirituality that requires honesty and openness, and it's best carried out in community. Wow, Penny, that sounds hard. Do you have anything a little easier? Maybe, probably not. But I do have some suggestions that are a little more structured, if that kind of approach appeals to you. And here's where it's good to be an Anglican. We don't talk about this as much as we should, but we have this teaching about the 5 marks of mission that help us to recognize the way God works in the world. I'm going to read them to you. If these 5 marks sound familiar, maybe they're reminding you of our baptismal covenant. Remember you are baptized. Here's the summary of the 5 marks of mission. To proclaim the good news of the kingdom, to teach, baptize, and nurture new believers, to respond to human need by loving service, to seek to transform unjust structures of society, to challenge violence of every kind, and to pursue peace and reconciliation, to strive to safeguard the integrity of creation and sustain and renew the life of the earth. These 5 activities are marks of God's work in the world. Are you drawn in particular to one of these areas of activity? Great, let's talk about that. Are you feeling a little intimidated? Please, let's talk about that too. Because at the end of the day, God longs for human flourishing. And God knows that by drawing us in as co-workers with God, God will be creating that flourishing in us. And God also longs for justice. And so as we work with God in the world, we create the conditions along with God for others to flourish too. Our times call for courage. Will you be one of the people who joins the conversation? You can find full details of how to connect to one of our conversations on the church website. I can't wait to talk to you.